Alright guys, so happy 4th of July. I forgot to mention. Today we're going to be reacting to Thomas Sowell, Where is the Compassion for the Unborn and the Adopted? I love the guy, man. I always knew he was good, but never sat down and listened to his stuff listen. I used to download like an audiobook a couple years ago, but never got into it. And I noticed that he was kind of, out there in age. And I said, you know what? Let me leave this great experience while he's still alive. But you will never know. You never know. So today we're going to be reacting to where is the compassion for the unborn and the adopter, of course, with the Roe v. Wade thing happening. This will be a good segment to see what he had to say as a libertarian, because he's a libertarian, not a Republican. He's a libertarian, capitalist, free market guy. Let's see how we had to say. Thomas Sowell, here we go.
Compassion has become one of a growing number of politicized words, like access or diversity, whose meaning has been corrupted beyond redemption. Nowhere is there more cruel indifference to the fate of flesh and blood human beings than among the hawkers of compassion when they talk about babies, born and unborn. The very phrase unborn babies has been driven from the language by the intelligentsia of the media and academia, who have
Interesting.
replaced it with the bloodless and detached word fetus. The success of this desensitization campaign may be judged by how many of us were shocked to learn from the medical movie The Silent Scream that what happens in an
Oh,
abortion
wow.
is not the surgical removal of some
I didn't even know that was a movie. I need to watch that. Let me know if you guys recommend this. You guys have watched this already? Silent Scream? Oh, man, it seemed like those kind of movie that you will be messed up after watching it. I don't know. Let me know if it is a good movie.
little blob of cells, but the painful dismemberment of a struggling human being attempting in vain to flee from the fatal instruments. Those who most loudly proclaim the public's right to know are nowhere to be seen when it comes to the public's right to know that. Indeed, strenuous efforts are made to prevent this movie from being shown.
Interesting.
In politically correct Palo Alto, home of Stanford University, a mere description of the process was edited out of a newspaper column on the subject. It is not just that the reality of abortion is a little too strong for some stomachs. Even less emotionally taxing issues like adoption reflect a very similar vision of the world in which babies are to be dealt with according to ideology and expediency. Perhaps the most gross form of this vision is shown in laws and policies against transracial adoption. These laws and policies not only keep many minority children needlessly languishing in orphanages or in a series of transient foster homes when there are couples ready to adopt them. Courts and bureaucracies actually drag these children in tears from the only homes they have ever known, when those homes are with non-minority families, shattering the lives of little.
See, that's the thing. Why so many red tape for people to adopt in the United States? I understand there's some concern, but why so many red tapes, man? When people want to adopt, and that's my argument for abortion is that you don't want the baby. We get it. Let's just look for a family that wants it, and after you give into adoption, you know your baby will be okay. But why are we not giving that option as a certain? Why? I want to know that. I want to know that. Why? That's not a clear answer. Instead of just going through that option, abortion seemed like for some reason, a first, let's say, solution to these things. I don't know, man.
2- and 3-year-old toddlers means nothing to the social welfare bureaucracies or to the academic and media ideologues who come up with fancy theories about the need to maintain cultural identity. Sometimes there is also a parade of speculative horrors to be feared from the adoption of minority children by white couples. Yet actual studies of children adopted across racial lines fail to turn up these horrors. And these youngsters' IQs are typically higher than those of minority children raised by their own parents.
Wow. Huh. Why? Why? Why they have a higher IQ when they adopt it with the other parents? Why? What kind of activities they do? What kind of food they eat? What kind of parenting goes through that that's the case that it seems like it's getting result. Why? And I'm not saying result in regarding of he go to college, he's a successful person. No, no. And in IQ. Huh.
Even aside from
Damn,
adoptions
man. These,
across
you see
racial
the
lines,
things that you
there is
learn?
ideological
Crazy.
opposition to adoption as such. A recent issue of National Review details media campaigns against adoption in publications ranging from the New York Times to Playboy.
Yeah, why?
To the critics, adoption is not a solution because it has potential problems. Children may be abused by
2012.
adoptive
Wow.
parents,
That
or
was
feel second class, or the
10 years
parents
ago.
may feel ambivalent, or the original mother may find herself being tracked down decades later by the child she put up for adoption.
Okay.
Of course adoption is not a solution. Neither is anything else in life.
Hmm.
In the real world, there are only trade-offs. Adoption has worked out fine for all sorts of people, from President Gerald Ford to black scientist George Washington Carver, who was raised by a
Oh,
white couple.
I didn't
But
know
of
that.
course, adoptions do not always work out fine, just as things do not always turn out fine when people are raised by their biological parents.
Exactly. We have to see the percentage. What's the percentages, right? If it is a majority of percentage, why not, right? If let's say they put it this way, if the percentage is as big as if you raise that kid with a single mom, the kid has a 70 to 80% to go to jail afterwards, right? Or not that's not a right statistic, right? There's a higher chance, or no, people that go to jail, people that drop out of high school, all these things are causes for a single mom, right? But then you compare it to adopted parents, and then those number goes down. That's what the argument I wanted to do. Why not, of course, going that route and see what's going on? You see what I'm saying?
At the heart of the opposition to adoptions, or to anything that would tend to discourage abortions, is the notion that children are expendable when they inconvenience adults. Anyone who has ever raised children knows that inconvenience is their middle name, and anyone who can look back on his own childhood honestly knows that he was at least an inconvenience, if not a real pain, to his parents on many occasions. All that goes with the territory. That is, with a universe we did not make, having constraints we cannot escape, and offering only trade-offs, however much the intelligentsia and the politicians proclaim solutions. The ultra-rationalistic
Mm.
world of the anointed, where traditional
Anointed.
ties and mores have been dumped into the dustbin.
Anointed. What is that? Anointed. Anointed. Comes on annoying. Anointed meaning someone that is getting tired or a topic, referring as him, the anointed. Just transforming to a subject. A noun, right? Am I wrong with that assessment? Let me know in the comment section below.
Of history is the real goal, whether the specific issue is sex education, euthanasia, or adoption. The problem is not that some people think this way. The
Supreme Court overturned Roe v. Wade. Yep.
problem is that other people not only
Wow.
take them seriously, but allow them to intimidate us with their pretense of special knowledge and insight, despite a record of failed theories that goes back at
CNN.
least a generation, leaving a trail of social wreckage from declining educational standards to rising rates of crime, drug usage, and suicide. Worst of
Hmm.
all, we let them appropriate the word compassion for use as a political
Yeah.
lever, when so many of their actions betray their utter lack of it.
Yeah. You know what's crazy? And I told you about this to you guys. Language. Language. Compassion. You hear the compassion word, right? And you automatically go to subjective area and say, you know what, this something can be good. If it is compassion, that means there has to be some kind of energy, nurture energy, be derived and empathetic, right, or sympathetic to it, right? So if it is a compassion, maybe it has to be good. Wow, man. I might look that movie, man. I don't know if I'm mentally ready to see this kind of movie because it does. I don't. When it comes to things like that, I don't have a good brain. I'm very weak at it. Very weak. And Thomas Sowell, he says something interesting about adopted kids being adopted by interracial marriages tend to, you know, in the case of the black to a white family, the IQ goes higher. Why? That's my point. Why? I want to know that. I might have to go a little bit deeper into that. You can see the artificial the thing going on outside the 4th of July. Very good, Thomas. Oh wow. Let me know what you guys think in this comment section below, and I'm gonna really appreciate it. Happy 4th of July.